Welcome to the City of Miami Historic Chambers. Today, November 17th, 2022. We are going to begin the meeting. Mr. Manager, we are going to begin the meeting this morning with a prayer from Commissioner Reverend Dunn. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, residents of the City of Miami. God bless you. I need to put this out. Many may be wondering, why the purple jacket? Because today is our Founders Day. I see some other fraternities represented for the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and it's our Founders Day, and I wanted to represent the Omegas. We're better known as the Qs. It's a professional fraternity organization all over this world. Shall we pray? Thank you, Madam Chair. Father, we're so grateful for life, for health, for strength. We realize, Lord, if it had not been for you on our side, where would we be? Lord, we thank you for government. We know that you sanction and ordained government. I pray, God, that you would bless our chair, our mayor, our commissioners as they make deliberations on decisions that will determine the outcome of the citizenry of the City of Miami. We pray, God, for prudence, we pray for fairness, and we pray for courage. We pray also for unity. Lord, we thank you, we praise you, we glorify you, and we magnify you. We ask it all in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Ghost. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Commissioner Reyes, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of the United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I believe, Madam City Attorney, you have a statement to read into the record.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the city clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the city clerk's office or online at www.municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of this City Code section is available at the office of the City Clerk or online at www.municode.com. The City of Miami requires that anyone requesting action by the City Commission must disclose before the hearing any consideration provided or committed to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to City Code Section 2-8. Any documents offered to the City Commission that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda items will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. In accordance with Section 2-33F and G of the City Code, the agenda and material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online 24 hours a day at www.miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Public comment will begin at approximately 9:50 and remain open until public comment is closed by the chair. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by submitting written comments via the online comment form. Please visit www.miamigov.com/meeting instructions for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment using the online public comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been and will be distributed to elected officials and city administrations throughout the day so that the elected officials may consider the comments. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to elected officials up until the chair closes public comment. Public comment may also be provided live at City Hall, located at 3500 Pan American Drive, Miami, Florida, subject to any and all city rules as they may be amended. If the proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state their name, their address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the city clerk. The city has provided public comment methods to indicate, among other things, of public support, opposition, or neutrality on items and topics to be discussed at the City Commission meeting in compliance with Section 286.0114 Florida statutes. The public has been given the opportunity to comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. Please note, commissioners have generally been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing a verbatim record of an item considered at this meeting may request it at the Office of Communications or view it online at www.miamigov.com. PZ items shall be heard according to Section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance as temporarily modified pursuant to emergency ordinance numbers 13903 and 13914. Parties for any PZ items, including any applicant, appellant, appellee, city staff, and any person recognized by the decision-making body as a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives, and any experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee may either be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the city clerk, or may appear virtually and make arrangements to be sworn in by oath or affirmation in person at their location by an individual qualified to perform such duty. Pursuant to emergency ordinance number 13903, members of the general public who are not parties to an action pending before the City Commission are not required to be sworn by oath or affirmation. The members of the City Commission shall disclose any ex parte communications pursuant to Florida Statute Section 286.0115 and Section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 zoning ordinance. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in Miami 21 and in the City Code. Staff will briefly present each item to be heard. The applicant will present its application or request to the City Commission. If the applicant agrees with the staff recommendation, the City Commission may proceed to its deliberation and decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeal to the City Commission, followed by the appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendation they may have. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. Virtual attendance. Pursuant to advisory legal opinion AGO 2020-03 issued on March 19, 2020, the Florida Attorney General opined that consistent with prior Attorney General opinions, a member of a local government who is physically unable to attend a meeting because of medical treatment or due to medical reasons could participate and vote in meetings where a quorum of the other members was physically present. This City Commission finds that members of the City Commission may use communications media technology to participate in and vote on items during meetings when a quorum of the Miami City Commission is physically present and the remote presence of the City Commissioner is medically necessary. This meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV, the city's Facebook page, the city's Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast also has closed captioning. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Clerk?
Thank you, Chair. The procedures for individuals providing testimony will be sworn in for planning and zoning items and any quasi-judicial items on today's City Commission agenda will be as follows. Members of city staff or any other individuals required to be sworn in who are currently present at City Hall will be sworn in by me, the City Clerk, immediately after I finish explaining these procedures. Those individuals who are appearing remotely may be sworn in now or at any time prior to the individual providing testimony for planning and zoning items and or quasi-judicial items. Pursuant to emergency ordinance number 13903, those individuals appearing remotely may be sworn in at their location by an individual qualified to administer the oath. After you are sworn in, please be sure to complete, sign, and notarize the affidavit provided to you by the City Attorney's Office. Each individual who provide testimony must be sworn in and execute an affidavit. Please email a scanned version of the signed affidavit to the City Clerk at thannon@miamigov.com prior to providing testimony on the planning and zoning item and or quasi-judicial item. The affidavit shall be included in the record for the relevant item for which you'll be providing testimony. Commissioners, are you comfortable with all notice provisions set forth in these uniform rules and procedures we have established for this meeting?
Yes.
Yes,
Chair may administer the oath for the planning and zoning items.
please.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If we will be speaking on any of today's planning and zoning items, may I please have you stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at today's meeting is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your response is? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. At this time, Mr. City Manager, do you have any items that are to be deferred or withdrawn?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Madam City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. At this time, the administration would like to defer and or withdraw the following items. RE1 to be deferred to the December 8th meeting. RE7 to be deferred to the December 8th meeting. SR4 to be deferred to the December 8th meeting. FR1 to be deferred to the December 8th meeting. PZ2 to be deferred to the December 8th meeting. PZ8 to be withdrawn. BC24 to be deferred to the January 12th meeting. And BC25 to be indefinitely deferred.
City Attorney, City Manager, PC2 will be deferred to where?
December 8th.
December 8th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner Russell, do you have any items?
Yes, thank you. I'd like to defer PZ1 to the December meeting, December 8th. I'd also like to be noted as a co-sponsor on PZ 16 and 17, please.
Would that be it? Commissioner Russell, is that it?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Reyes, do you have any?
Yes, Madam Chair, I would like to co-sponsor PH 10, and also I would like to defer FR 3 to, I would say, December 8th. I talked to one of the proponents, one of the ones that, the people that are offering those signs, and we had a conversation that was a misunderstanding on my part in the first vote, and I want to clear it up and maybe clear. I have a lot of questions that I need answered from them. So I want to defer the FR3.
Okay. For myself, I'd like to defer PZ 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yes.
I have a pocket item that the city attorney has.
Okay.
Okay.
To when, Madam Chair?
What's the latest I can put them out?
Indefinite.
Can I, because I'm not sure if you can indefinitely defer PZ items. I can. So I'll indefinitely defer PZ 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
those items are related to PZ3, the actual zoning text on medical marijuana. So if possible, I'd like to at least have a discussion on it today, because we continually defer that one, but we're really not having a meeting of the minds on it. So I noticed that the administration did not defer PZ3, so I'm happy to at least start a discussion on it. It'll probably end up getting deferred, but at least we'll know where the different commissioners are on it.
Don't
I
worry.
know where you are.
Don't worry.
You know
about
where I
it.
am.
You got your card already, man.
Okay, so we'll have PZ 3 as a discussion item.
Chair, may I designate Commissioner Reyes' pocket item as PI 1?
Okay.
So to be clear, PZs 4 through 7 are going to remain on the agenda for now?
No.
No?
Indefinite deferral.
Indefinitely deferred.
Chair, I don't know if I could be heard or not.
Yes, you can.
Is that you, God?
I'd like to defer CA 8. I just need to be able to go and look at the area and see why we're giving property away. I always make a habit of doing that, and I haven't been able to do that this time. So CA 8.
Okay. Anything else?
And Chair, CA will be deferred to December 12th? That was
Eighth.
December 8th, December 8th?
Would you like that to
Yes,
be?
that will be fine at the next meeting. Can I'm sorry. Can the manager go over again the items that he was deferring?
Yes.
I can go over the full list. We have CA8, which would be deferred to the December 8th meeting. RE1, which would be deferred to the December 8th meeting. RE7, which would be deferred to the December 8th meeting. SR4, which would be deferred to December 8th. FR1, to be deferred to December 8th. FR3, to be deferred to December 8th. PZ1, to be deferred to December 8th. PZ2, to be deferred to December 8th. PZ4, 5, 6, and 7, to be indefinitely deferred. PZ8, to be withdrawn. And BC24, to be deferred to January 12th. And BC25, to be indefinitely deferred. I think I got all of them.
Okay.
May I?
Thank you. Madam Chair, I have one more that I'd like to defer. This is something that started when I was mayor in the city, and I'm in favor of it, but I need to look at the property to see how much boat storage is being done right now, and since this will be a long-term lease that we're going to extend, I want to be sure of the parameters before we approve it. This will be PH10.
I didn't hear which item it
PH
is.
It said PH10.
He wants to defer PH10.
PH10.
That you're sponsored?
This is an item I'm sponsoring in my district, so
I co-sponsor it.
what was the reason again for the
I don't
deferral
know.
request?
Ken, I was always in favor of this. This is why I supported it when I was mayor. But there's a tremendous amount of boat storage in the parking lot. There's also additional boat rentals in dockage that we need to look at and be clear of what we're going to approve, because this would be a long-term lease.
So,
To be clear, I'm basically in favor of this. I think it's a good program for kids, but we need to be having clear parameters on the areas of boat storage and dockage of boats.
Commissioner, this is the manager. For purposes of clarification, this is not a lease. This is a revocable license agreement. So it's not a long-term
That's what I meant
commitment.
to say. But we're going to be entering this in for an X amount of time with it in the revocable license. So I
Correct.
want to be sure that what we do would be for one meeting only.
But this just authorizes us to, a bid waiver and to negotiate. It would have, it doesn't, there's no agreement being reached at this point. This is just for the bid waiver, Commissioner.
Okay, just for the bid waiver?
Yes, sir.
Then I'll be fine with it, then we can go with it.
Okay.
So PH10.
Commissioner, you should rest.
Okay,
Excuse me?
Joe, you should rest. You sound real bad. Take good care of yourself, man.
Well,
Should be resting.
I'll rest when we're done with the meeting, Commissioner. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Manager, I'd like to make sure that you have me as a sponsor for CA4.
The clerk has you duly noted.
CA9, yes. PH3, RE8,
As a co-sponsor?
yes.
I'd like to co-sponsor RE8 as well, please.
PZ10, and that would be it.
I have one additional item, Madam Chair. PZ9 can be withdrawn. They came into compliance subsequent to the PZAB meeting, so
So
the appeal's being withdrawn, so the item can be withdrawn as well.
Okay. PZ9 is withdrawn.
Okie dokie.
And at this time, I'm going to turn the mic over to Commissioner
Chair,
Russell.
is there a motion?
Do
So
I have a
moved.
motion?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries to set the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't believe I need the microphone right now. I've got this one. I'd like to move FR2 out of the agenda, please. We have a guest with us today, Mr. Tibor Hollow and Mrs. Sheila Hollow, as well as Jerry. I saw here earlier. There he is, Jerry. And open up public comment for that item separately, if you don't mind. In addition to moving it, I'd like to sponsor an amendment to the naming of this park as Tibor and Sheila Hollow Park. They did not ask for this. This was a surprise to them, and when I went to them, they actually said, please, don't do this. We're not asking for this. But Brickell 1814 has not had a name since its inception, but it would not exist as a park in the city of Miami but for the Hollow family and their investment in it. Mr. Tibor Hollow built the first financial high-rise in Brickell's history, yet they were always focused on placemaking. In fact, for my 4 years as the chair of the DDA, Jerry Hollow was the chair of the placemaking committee, helping ensure that green spaces were prioritized in Brickell and downtown. And so I think it's only fitting that this park, which doesn't have a name, should be named after the family that helped make sure it exists. So I make the motion for FR2 on first reading for the naming of Tibor and Sheila Hollow Park.
I will second
Second.
it. Gladly second it. I heard about Tibor Hollow from friends in Cuba, long time ago. People don't know that he has a great history in Cuba, and he was one of the, I would say, the trendsetter in Cuba also. So it's an honor to co-sponsor this and second your motion.
Thank you. And public comment.
We're going to open the public comments for this item, FR2, Tibor Hollow Park.
Good morning. Jerome Hollow here. I just want to say thank you. It's a great honor to have this park named after my parents and my father, who worked for the last 60 years to make Miami the city it has become. He had amazing foresight many years ago, see what the Brickell area could be, and the downtown area and the destination, and how strong a community we could have here. And we were very happy when we were able to acquire the park and help the city acquire the park. And I know anecdotally that there are a lot of families that use the park and bring their kids to the park, so it's a well-used park. And it's a great honor to have our name associated with the park. So I want to say thank you to everybody, and thank you to Commissioner Russell for bringing this up to us. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time,
One other thing.
oh,
And for those of you who haven't been there, please go by. The address is 1814 on Brickell Avenue, and it's 35,000 square feet. It's got a dog park, a children's park, and a piece of the World Trade Center is there actually as a memorial. It's a nice space.
I am deeply honored by your board to bestowing this honor on me. I thank each and every one of you on this board. Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Congratulations. We must vote.
We need to vote, and then I want to take a picture.
That's right.
Mr. City Clerk?
She has to read it into the record, then we can take a picture. If you so.
Yeah.
An ordinance of the Miami City Commission naming the parcel of land consisting of approximately 35,500 square feet located at 1814 Brickell Avenue, Miami, Florida as Tibor and Sheila Hollow Park, amending Chapter 38, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida as amended titled Parks and Recreation in general by creating Section 38-34 titled Naming of Tibor and Sheila Hollow Park. Further, directing the city manager to take any and all actions necessary to effectuate the naming of the park, containing a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
The motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you. Do you mind if I get a quick picture?
Tibor, this is Joe Carollo. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today, but I want to wish you all the best. You have made us proud for many, many years, and for all of those that don't know, Tibor Hollow was the only developer that Miami had that when we had huge financial crisis back in the 80s, that interest rates went as high as 22%, was able to live through that. Every other developer that we had at that time went under, and he somehow had the wits to be able to survive it. So he is a legend in the field, and I don't know of anyone else that could be said of in his particular field of developing and construction.
Madam Chair, may I please read Commissioner Reyes's pocket item?
Please.
A
My apologies. And just for the record, the public comment has closed for FR2.
Thank you. A a resolution of the Miami City Commission waiving the 2 temporary event limitation per year for a private property pursuant to Section 62-521B4 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended to allow the property at 2805 Southwest 32nd Avenue, Miami, Florida, to host temporary events consisting of the sale of Christmas trees and sparklers beginning November 20th, 2022, and ending December 31st, 2022, as well as a helicopter landing for Santa on December 21st, 2022, from 2 to 7 p.m.
I move it.
I second.
I think we're now going to move to public. If you wanted to vote on this item only, we can do public comment for just the pocket item. We can
Okay.
open up public comment for every.
Sure. At this time, we'll open public comment for this item only. Anyone here would like to speak on pocket item 1?
And if I might explain what it is, it's the Boys and Girls Club. And what we're doing is they have the fundraising by selling Christmas trees, and we are authorizing it. And they're going to have a huge, huge event for Christmas. And they want to bring Santa in a helicopter. And that's why we are passing this. We need this resolution to make that possible. So that's why I move it.
Seeing no one for public comment, the public comment period is closed. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously. At this time, I'm going to open the public comment for items that are on the agenda. Please line up at each of the lecterns. Good morning, Mr. Range.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Mayor, Manager. Patrick Range, 5727 Northwest 17th Avenue. I was here this morning to speak on 2 items that have been deferred, FR3 and BC25. I'm very happy that the BC25 item was deferred. I think that opens a pathway for hopefully some additional discussion regarding the Virginia Key Beach Park Trust and the appointments that are to be made to it. We have a number of supporters that are here with us today in anticipation of what will be coming. And the thought is that we are still here, and we still want to have input. We want to work with you to do that. We've taken painstaking efforts to combat the things that have been put out there about us that have been negative, whether it be financial malfeasance, whether it be us not being active or there being a period of inactivity that the trust was experiencing. I think we have done our best to put all of those things to bed. And so we are back before you simply saying that we are here and we are here to work. And we feel that the energy that has at times seemed to be adversarial, that if that is directed in one vein, that, man, how successful could we be with getting this done? And so that's the vein in which I'm here today, is to say that we're here to work, and we feel that our voice is valuable to this process. And now that we have put to bed all of the negativities that were put out there about us, we still stand here and we say that we're ready to work. You guys can't build this museum without us. The knowledge of the history and the community, that's what we bring to the table, and you need that. And so we're here, we offer that to you. Let us know how that can take shape. I'm available, and thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, and city staff. My name is Joseph Rodriguez, and I am an Allapattah resident. I'm currently a student in Miami-Jackson Senior High, and I'm here concerning CA6, the transfer from Miami Bethany to Dulce Vida Apartments of the library lot. One main reason why I want this library to still be a part of the project is because since I'm currently a student in Miami-Jackson, I spend a large amount of time there, as well as my friends and family members. We're happy to see that the library is still included in the project. Our concern is that the community has not been kept up to date on the project process. while the library continues to be a well-used asset by Jackson High students and community members. So, we're asking the City of Miami for a meaningful community engagement process that results in a comprehensive community benefits agreement, one that is created by Alapata residents in partnership with the developer and enforced by the city, to ensure this piece of public land is developed in the best way possible for the people most impacted. As part of the community benefit agreement, we're asking for a comprehensive community engagement process so that the public has a say in how public land is developed. That the developer be required to create affordable housing based on the median income of Alapata residents, or 70% of Miami-Dade County's area median income. Assurance that Dulce Vida will keep the library that is heavily used by seniors and Jackson High School students on site. A plan to include public parking for many small businesses in area that rely on the law of their customers' use. And last but not least, a plan to mitigate the impact of construction on the neighborhood and the small businesses nearby. Public land is owned by all of us, and the public must be involved in shaping its future. The Public Land for Public Good Coalition has developed a set of principles for how to develop public land that we are asking the city to use. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Good morning, Stephen Leidner, 1130 102nd Street, Bay Harbor Islands. A year ago, Russia invaded Ukraine brutally. After the invasion, Russia conducted a referendum and decided that the voters were in favor of becoming part of Russia, and Russia annexed Ukraine. I see a distinct parallel between that action and this commission's actions to overthrow, to gut the Virginia Key Beach Trust. And I hope you will consider the community's concern, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. If I may, there is no item on the agenda today to address the Virginia Key Beach Trust. If there's anyone else that's here to speak on behalf of the Virginia Key Trust, and Mr. Range said it when he spoke, and I allowed him to get that out, but there's no item here today to discuss the Virginia Key Beach Trust. So if you'd like to speak on another item, you are welcome to, but the public comments are intended for items that are on this agenda. Continue. When you come up, say that. I didn't hear.
I'm sorry, if any comments are going to be made, they need to be made on the record. So is the next
Brother
speaker?
Lau, what I was saying was that I can't hear you. When you get to the mic, say it, because I can't hear what you're saying. Please, go ahead.
Good morning, Chairwoman and Commissioners. My name is Julio Diaz, and I'm the owner of the Six Borough Clothing in Alapata. I am here because of the item CA6, the transfer from Miami Bethany to Dulce Vida Apartments of the library lot. As a business owner, I am concerned that businesses surrounding the land have not been kept up to date on the project process. We depend on the city parking lot because of the lack of street parking on 36th Street and few spaces on Northwest 17th Avenue. So we're asking the city of Miami for a meaningful community engagement process that results in a comprehensive community benefits agreement, one that is created by Alapata residents in partnership with the developer and enforced by the city to ensure the piece of public land is developed in the best way possible for the people most impacted. As part of the community benefit agreement, we are asking, one, for a comprehensive community engagement process so that the public has a say in how public land is developed. Two, that the developer be required to create affordable housing based on the median income of Alapata residents, or 70% of Miami-Dade County's area median income. Three, assurance that Dulce Vida will keep the library that is heavily used by seniors and Jackson High School high students on site. A plan to include public parking for the many small businesses in the area that rely on the lot for their customers' use. And 5, a plan to mitigate the impact of construction and the neighborhood and the small businesses nearby. Our biggest fear is that this project could potentially cause many of us to have our doors closed. After surviving the pandemic, this could devastate our businesses.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Candace O'Brien. I live at 1040 Biscayne Boulevard. I'm here to speak to the deferment of FR3 regarding outdoor advertising in various parks. Disappointed that it was deferred because I'm pretty busy, like a lot of people here are, and came to speak, but I'm absolutely disgusted with this. We've already had to deal with Corolla's tacky $1 million dog and cat project
Ma'am?
in Foray Park.
Ma'am? Brother Lyle?
Yes, first, before I begin, can I get a point of clarification in
Yes.
terms of the rule?
The Virginia Key items BC 24 and 25 have been deferred, so they're not on the agenda. Items that are not on the agenda, as the lady came with FR3, that has been deferred. So those items are not here. They're not before the commission today, so we're not hearing public comments on them.
The last time I was here and an item was deferred indefinitely that we came to speak on, it was also stated that we had an opportunity to speak on it. However, we wouldn't be able to speak on it if it came up again. Secondly, if you allowed one citizen that right, why are others not allowed that same right to speak on that?
Because one, it's my discretion. Two, I thought Mr. Range explained so that the rest of you would have heard what he said, that the items were deferred, so I let him say it so I wouldn't have to say it. And secondly, you are correct. You could speak on the item today, but then you won't be able to speak. No, let me finish.
Yes,
But then you won't be able to speak on the item when it comes back. And I want you to be able to speak on the item when I bring it back, when I have the appointments. I don't want you to not be able to be heard. So I am not allowing you to speak on BC 24 and 25 today. I will
I
have it
misunderstood
bring
something,
back.
ma'am. Did you just say that if I had an opportunity that I had a choice to, but then you said you weren't allowing me to? I'm confused now.
It is my discretion to allow it.
So what I have to say is pertinent now. I don't need to speak on it later. May I?
No. No. When the item is on the agenda, you
So
may
may I ask
speak on
for
it.
clarification legally now?
Oh,
Because
you
this
may.
seems-
Go right ahead.
Can you give us a legal explanation if an item is deferred the day of a meeting, public cannot be allowed to speak on it, or public can speak on it and not be allowed when it comes back? Can we get a legal clarification?
So based on Florida statutes, you're allowed to speak when an item is on the agenda or in close proximity to that time. The chair has the right to run an orderly meeting, and if she likes, she can also assign one person to represent everyone here. So that is another option, that she could say, everyone stand up, who's here on that item, have one representative speak, and Mr. Range did that.
Since that wasn't done, that
Well-
what you just described wasn't done, can you go back to the timing and the proximity as to when an item
So
is deferred?
the next time this item is on, then you have the opportunity to speak, because
No, you
the
talked
chair
about,
is-
in your explanation, you mentioned that when an item is on the agenda,
Brother Lyle,
that,
I'm going to have the city attorney speak to you on the side so we can take up the other folks that are. I'm going to ask that you speak to the city attorney on the side so people who are here on other items can speak on their items until you get clarity.
Good morning.
Mr. Tenney?
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, Commissioners. Like many here, I came to speak about Virginia Key Beach, but it's been deferred, and Mr. Range, I think, expressed much of what I would have to say, I've got to put this at normal height. However, I do want to speak in support of, I believe it's item PH5 for Shake a Leg. Let me be one of many voices to express very enthusiastic support for full recognition of their request. To the point, though, I think, out of respect to the folks who did show up here, anticipating the opportunity to speak on Virginia Key Beach, there should be some way of at least recognizing how many people are here so that their trip, leaving their homes and coming here is not totally wasted. I hope that can happen in some way. You could ask everybody to stand, but most of the people are probably standing already. And I think the last thing I just want to say, and this is not just in relation to Virginia Key Beach, but to just as a matter of procedure, I think on that particular issue, but on so many more, it's worth pointing out that, you know, we come from a tradition of wisdom, thousands of years old, about hate the deed, not the doer. When we attack positions and, you know, decisions that are made, please, I hope, you know, as commissioners and as people, as citizens, we're not taking these things personally. I mean, attacking a policy or a decision that's we're not satisfied with is not the same as attacking you as persons. So I just want to get that in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tinney. And what I'm trying to do is facilitate the conversation for the Virginia Key Beach, but it doesn't do any good to facilitate a conversation when the item isn't on and I haven't proffered the appointments. So I want everyone to be able to speak. That is not what I'm saying. I don't not want you to speak, but this is not the right time. I want you to give your input when there's input to be had. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to silence you. I want to hear you. I just want to hear you at the appropriate time, and this is not it because the item is not before you.
No, I think that's understood and fully appreciated, and we appreciate that. And we just ask that it also be appreciated that people came.
I do appreciate.
And if
I
people
do
come
appreciate that everyone has
on
come.
December 8th and it gets deferred again for some reason.
No, it won't. I have every
Okay,
intention to make the appointments as expeditiously as possible. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Keisha Guyton, and I stay 175th Northwest 42nd Avenue.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, we're having a hard time hearing you. Maybe get closer to the microphone.
My name is Keisha Guyton, and I live at 17431 Northwest 42nd Avenue. I did come to speak on that deferment behalf, but I'm just going to say one little thing, and then I'm going to walk away. I felt very disrespected as a community. I feel like, you know, I watched this elderly man come here for a park, and y'all was very, very proud to give him that honor. And for you all to do that to us is disregard. And I see so many museums of people that comes to America that haven't had the struggles that we had. And y'all allow them to have it, and y'all don't treat us that same way. And I just want to say it's disrespectful for us, for our ancestors. Y'all preserve the right for everybody else's ancestors but ours. And that's all I got to say.
Good morning. My name is Janie Jackson. I'm from Liberty City, 1161 Northwest 50th Street. Now, Ms. King, I want to address this to you personally. Everybody sitting on the board, you should understand where we're coming from. When you was running for election, I stood hours in that line to make sure you got in here. You promised us you would never leave us or forsake us. You would be there for the community. Now, if you knew you didn't want us here to speak about that matter, then you shouldn't have never made us sign all this paperwork. You should have been straight up forward about it and let us know. Why did you took that off without us even knowing? It's not fair. We need to be treated fair. We need to have a voice, and people need to respect us like we respect everybody else to the utmost. And it's not right, Ms. King.
May I address, there was a meeting last night that I did not attend, and everyone was told to come to this meeting. Those agenda items, they had nothing on it. There's no appointment to it. I stand with the community. I am trying to find a path forward with the community, and there are many people that stand with me. I will have a meeting to explain all of this. I will appoint people that are solid to this trust. Patrick Range just got up and said he'd still like to be heard. I met with Patrick Range when all of this stuff started happening. My commissioners, not me, has changed the makeup of this trust. And I am trying to find a way to unite our community and move this agenda forward. It is not on the agenda. This is not something that I do not say to any other community. That is how I run this meeting. It is not disrespectful. I am not trying to be disrespectful to anyone. More so, I am with you. Whether you realize it and the few of you who don't realize it, I am with you. If I didn't take the chair for the Virginia Key Beach Trust, one of my colleagues would have been the chair. Then what would you have said? I did the best that I could under the circumstances, and I continue to do the best under the circumstances. I didn't hear anybody say today, restore the trust, but I would ask you, how will I restore the trust when we don't have 3 votes to restore the trust?
Mr. Russell, because
Madam
help you do
Chair.
that.
May I say?
I don't want to have this conversation anymore because this isn't the place to do it. I will be having a community meeting so I can address all of your concerns. I wanted to go to the meeting last night, but 1, I wasn't invited, and 2, I spoke to community leaders. Dr. Enid Pinkney, my pastor, and others said, Commissioner, please don't go to the meeting. That is not the appropriate forum. So I listened to my elders and the stakeholders in our community, but I promise you that I will have a meeting where all of you can be heard, because my only agenda is to move the mission of the trust forward, to get that museum built, and to unite our community. And that is it. And that is it. But those who want to bully me, it's not going to work.
We love you. We don't want to bully you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
woman.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Please.
May I say something? In all fairness, there is a lot of I would say, misinformation going around. And I cannot stand here and take it like that. This has come to me. I mean, I just received this. It's full of lies. I can assure you that while I'm sitting here, none of us wants to build a hotel in Virginia Key. None of us wants to develop Virginia Key. And Virginia Key is going to remain, and I promise you that, the Black Beach. And the Virginia Key is going to honor your ancestors and the people that have suffered and people that made Miami, you see? And you're going to have your museum, and that's what we want. But you see, spreading lies and attack to the won't do any good. The only thing that is going to stir emotions and bring people angry, and rightfully so, because if you believe that it's going to, Virginia Key is going to go away and we're going to have apartments and hotels and all that, none of that is going to happen. I assure you that. And I'm going to fight for that just like your share is going to fight against that. Okay? So, listen, don't doubt that. We're going to be working together. And we're going to be working for the best and have all your dreams that have been built around the development of Virginia Key, but the community that own Virginia Key it's going to be fulfilled. And that's what we're going to be working towards that goal. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Take care of yourself and God bless you.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I have to just say something on the record because I wasn't able to finish it before. Pursuant to Florida statute, if something's reset, they could come back and speak at the next regularly scheduled agenda when the item is on. We also have a process in our code that allows for them to speak to the manager if that isn't addressed, and they can come before the city commission when it's set. So I know that the gentleman is waiting for me to give him those code sections, and we will give him that, and he will be able to come and speak at the next time this item is on the agenda.
I'm going to make the announcement that if there is anyone else here who would like to speak on the Virginia Key Trust issue, it is not on the agenda. Please step away from the lectern. Come back, as the city attorney said, when it is back on the agenda. Thank you. Come on, Brother Lau. So I'm going to allow Brother Lyle to say something because he was up, but that will be the last person that will be speaking on the agenda. You want to speak? He is going to be the last person that I allow to speak on the item.
Just three things. First of all, for the record, my name is Lyle Muhammad. I serve as the Executive Director of the Circle of Brotherhood, 5120 24th Avenue, Miami, Florida, 33142. Just in terms of integrity, if we don't want innuendos flowing in the community, or you don't want undue pressure, let us know exactly whose idea this was. Someone proffered the idea. And so if we know exactly whose idea it was, there won't be misplaced energy and frustration. Trust me, we know how to place it. But if people are trying to hide behind oligarchies, if people are trying to act like there's not a trend of things that are taking place, that's not going to give us transparency and clarity. So let us know exactly who's the original person who decided to disband the trust. Let us know that. One of you be brave enough, since it came before you, to proffer that. Lastly, for those, this is a warning only for those who are immoral, corrupt, and ill-motivated. There's a thread that's being pulled, and people are trying to divide and conquer. People are trying to make it look like the Cubans are trying to take over the beach. People are trying to make it look like that we may have some people in office that don't know how to stand up for what needs to be stood up for. But then it also looks like that there's a thread being pulled and you may not recognize the people you're waking up. Don't mislead the people and don't hide behind lies. The thread says what it says. And if you say that you're for the community, then your voting record needs to prove it. Thank you.
Mr. City Clerk, can you advise who put forth the legislation to revise the trust? Can you look back at
To see who the sponsor was, or?
who put forth the legislation to put
Understood.
each of us, make me chair, 2 appointments?
Can you give me just 2 minutes?
Okay, and it's, I believe you were next.
My name is Stanley Young. I was kind of new to Miami and seeing things is running entirely different here. I live at 500 Northwest 2nd Avenue. I want to talk about the entire process of how y'all actually run in this city, how you're going into people's communities.
Sir,
And
what item are you speaking
I'm
of?
speaking of the process of the entire.
The process is not on the agenda. Can you identify an agenda item that you would like to speak on?
So you took so many off the agenda, it's hard to find out exactly what's on the agenda.
I'm going to allow her to speak while you look.
All right,
Go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Hilario Raniero. I live on Biscayne Boulevard. I want to talk about the deferral of item FR3. I know it's
FR3
deferred.
has been
I just want a
deferred.
few seconds. I took
No,
out time off work.
It's been Ma'am, it's been deferred. I know you just heard me go through this whole protocol that if the item is deferred, we are not hearing it today. You are
I'm
welcome
talking
to
to
come
the
back.
deferral of the item.
It's
And
been
I just want to
deferred.
say I
It's
took
not-
time off work. I mean,
Good morning.
I have an item that's on the agenda. My name is Mark Bailey, Miami River Marine Group. This is regarding PZ 14 and PZ 15. Today, I'm joining with the Miami River Commission's unanimous recommendation to deny the applications and oppose the related ordinances to rezone and change the future land use of properties at 1960, 1970 Northwest 27th Avenue. Guided by the longstanding Miami River Corridor Urban Infill Plan, which outlines the functional use of the lower river, middle river, and upper river, and alongside Miami Comprehensive Plan, the proposed ordinances to both amend the future land use map of the comprehensive plan and rezone these particular properties to allow for over 300 residential units at this industrial area is incompatible with the area surroundings and inconsistent with the policies, goals, and objectives of the city's comprehensive plan, which was underscored and ratified in District Court of Appeals, case law, and final settlement agreement with the City of Miami. Miami Comprehensive Plan includes dozens of policies surrounding the goals and objectives supporting the working river element of the river. Policy 314, the city shall encourage the establishment and maintenance of working waterfront uses along the banks of the Miami River and to discourage encroachment by incompatible uses. The city shall encourage only those developments, rezoning, and land use amendments in the vicinity of the working waterfront lands designated industrial on the adopted future land use map that are compatible and suitable with the existing industrial use of the property. While the Miami River Marine Group supports efforts to remediate the brownfield environmental conditions at this site, and we recognize the need for workforce housing,
Thank you.
allowing for 300
Thank you.
residential parks,
Thank you.
residential units.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairwoman and Commissioners. Okay. Hi, my name is Harry Horgan. I'm the president and co-founder of Shake Leg Miami. I live at 7901 Southwest 50th Court, 33143. Thank you for hearing our item today. It's been an honor for us to work with the city over the past 30 years to provide access to Biscayne Bay for the whole community, with emphasis on kids and people with disabilities and veterans. And it's because of our partnership, we provide access to those that don't have access. We believe there's healing qualities in the water, and we look forward to working with you all to ensure that we can continue this for many more years to come. So thank you for considering us, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Good morning.
I'm speaking about PZ 14 and 15. Good morning, my name is Oren Black. I'm the owner of the 5th Street Marina with the offices at 341 Northwest South River Drive. I ask that you deny the upzoning request for 1960 Northwest 27th Avenue. Essentially, the Rollins Inc. and Michael Goldstein are asking you to reward them for polluting the property in the Miami River by approving a double upzoning. What message does this send to polluters? The property is west of 27th Avenue in a heavy marine industrial area, adjacent Tillian Marine, Seacoast Shipping, River Terminal Services, and Federal Metals. Many would like to see something happen with this property that has been vacant for many years. Any industrial or commercial project at this location would be supported. The team, however, has only an apartment building in mind, one next to shipping terminals that operate day and night on a property polluted by Orkin's operations under an FDP consent decree for the banned termiticides, dieldrin, and chlordane. This is not the first time that Goldsteins and Rollins have come to the city with an upzoning request for this property. In 2004, they came with the promise of an environmental cleanup if they could get the rezoning for the Aqua Clara Clove multifamily development. The city granted it to them, and then they did nothing. Goldstein walked away from the deal and left the property in limbo. The city later reverted the zoning. It didn't make sense then. It doesn't make sense now. It subsequently was placed into a list of properties that make up Miami's working waterfront, clearly delineated and incorporated into the comprehensive plan. So I ask that you deny this upzoning. Don't send the wrong message to polluters. Any giant residential project west of 27th Avenue is completely out of context with the River Commission's urban infill plan. This is a designated working waterfront site. Thank you.
Excuse me. How you guys doing today? My name is Kari Stark, and I'm the program manager at Shake a Leg Miami. First thing, thank you guys for working with us and partnering with us and giving us the opportunity to serve, which we take pride in. Shake a Leg Miami is a nonprofit organization that works with children and adults. We believe that there's magic out there in Biscayne Bay, and we like to provide that access. We provide that access with adaptive equipment, kayaks, paddle sports, boats, anything you can envision on the water, we're doing it in an adaptive setting. Not only that, we're doing it with inclusion. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for giving us this opportunity. I'm Kara Stark, 3940 Charles Terrace, Coconut Grove. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Teresa Cordos at 1950 Northwest 25th Avenue. I'm in reference to P14, 1960 and 1970 Northwest 27th Avenue. The zoning change for light industrial to restricted commercial. I would say no to that definitely because the parking area, and it doesn't make sense. The area is very busy. The building would not have the waterfront property that gentleman, the developer, was talking about. I don't know how that's possible. And what does that do to the residents that are currently living in the area as far as taxes? And as it is, the restaurants in the area are parking and blocking the driveways of the residents in the area. It really doesn't make any sense. And I want to thank you for the board for considering this request. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning. My name is Barth Green, 620 Sable Palm Road, Miami, Florida, 33137. I'm here today as co-founder of Shake a Leg in 1990, a moment that transformed my career and life. And I just want to emphasize that this is a world-class facility and resource that welcomes and serves thousands of children and adults with physical, developmental, and financial challenges every year, evens the playing field, and is a precious partner to the city of Miami, and I encourage us to support a continuing relationship. And I'd like to stop short and introduce my friend and colleague from the Overtown Youth Center, Alonzo Mourning. Let's see if technology works. I press a button, but I don't have it.
Is IT available?
Here comes IT to the rescue. Yeah, Video.
I want to send my heart. Harry, I want to send my heartfelt thanks to you and all your staff at Shake a Leg for all that you do, not just for the kids in our program at OIC and the opportunities that you provide for them during the summertime, but for all the kids around South Florida. You are a jewel to this community, and I'm asking and praying that the city of Miami give you all the resources and the support that you need to continue to sustain the work, the good work that you're doing. God bless you.
Thank you. Sir?
My name is Nicholas Zamorano. I live at 5870 Southwest 82nd Street in South Miami. I'm here to discuss PH10, Shake a Leg Miami. Chairwoman, Commissioner Ken Russell, and the rest of the commissioners, we thank you for your hard work. As I was sitting there, I was amazed how a lot of subjects got mixed up, but hopefully they'll be resolved. As I want to thank all of you for supporting Shake a Leg Miami, who's been a nonprofit for a long time and around for a long time. And hopefully we can bring more and more people to come and support us and go out in the water and enjoy a day out in the bay. Today is Give Miami Day, and if Harry Horrigan doesn't mind me saying it here today, right now we have raised $59,083 in Give Miami Day for Shake a Leg Miami. So I'm very happy not only to the donors, but to the community of Miami for being there for Shake a Leg and for people who love Shake a Leg Miami. And again, thank you all. And Ken Russell, thank you for being there for Shake a Leg Miami for all these years. And Chairwoman, thank you for all your hard work, because I know you're gonna make this community better. And we all have to come together and be one community, because that's all we can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairwoman. My name is Zeke Rodriguez. I live at 7810 Beachview Drive, Florida 33141. I'm here on behalf of Shake a Leg Miami, not just as a recent board member, but as a proud parent of a quadriplegic nonverbal child. I've been in Miami about 30 years. 21 years ago, my firstborn, I call him my miracle baby. He was born in South Miami Hospital, weighing in at 1 pound, 12 ounces. As a parent of a disabled, permanently disabled, and primary caregiver, I can assure you that the services of Shake a Leg are, well, words would escape you. I would first encourage you to come down and see for yourself, if you haven't, the radiant smiles of these children as they get out on the water. As a parent, we struggle mightily just to find activities for our disabled kids. And I discovered Shake a Leg a while back, really by accident. I met Harry, who recently had me join the board. I just want to say thank you. Not just for we service not just the disabled community, but obviously we serve the veterans, disabled veterans. And as you saw in Alonzo's video, it took some work to get that done, by the way. We proudly have a summer program that's really a flagship program for inner city kids. We bus in hundreds and hundreds of kids during the summer at the facility, and it's really a sight to see. My child participates, so it's kind of an all-inclusive summer camp. I can only just tell you that it's really, it's a jewel in Miami, and you really should see it, and thank you for your support.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Shannon, and this is my first meeting participating, so I only have two things I would like to say. The first is in regards to FR6, the Anti-Poverty Initiative. And again, it's my first time, so I'm not sure the order of things, but could I have more information about what that is?
The Anti-Poverty Initiative grew a couple of years ago. It was a pilot program where each commissioner would have monies to address poverty in their district. This item is going to codify the pilot program and make it a program that is ongoing. So it's no longer a pilot program, now it's legislation.
Okay. Have you assigned a dollar amount for District 5 yet? Or it's just a new item?
No. It varies, and it's based on the CDBG guidelines for poverty. So each commission district gets that money based on the poverty guidelines of their district. So what was District 5 last year? Maybe $800,000? And it's going to increase when the Miami Freedom Park project begins to start paying into the county, and then the anti-poverty pocket of money will increase for each district as well.
And when will is there a schedule for the Miami Freedom Park project?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. They haven't broken ground as yet.
Okay, and is this something that the citizens like of District 5 have access to by application, or is it like you build certain programs?
Both.
Both? Okay. Application and programs. Okay, and then, sorry, programs. And then I would just like to go over two items in the beginning. CA1, in accordance with the Preservation Board's approval of the State Historic Park District to the National Register of Historic Places that's associated with events that has made a significant contribution to the broad patterns of our history in the area of community planning and development, and also CA2, recommending to the Historic and Environmental Preservation Board its approval of the State Historic Places as the Flora Coral Apartments, which embodies the distinctive characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction. I would just say, please consider honoring and preserving all national landmarks for all of Miami's history, including historical Black beaches. Thank you. All power to the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Christian Bedoya. I'm here for I-10 PH10. I'm the chairman of Shake-a-Leg Miami, and board member for the past 14 years. This organization is still doing the job that we started doing 30 years ago, helping the disabled and people with disabilities, children, veterans, and we have done this constantly through the years with the help of you commissioners. And we're hoping to keep doing it for another 25 years with your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Louis Marza Betty Garza, homeless at Peacock Park. I'm referencing SR3, and it says to provide for reasonable limitations on continuances and deferrals of items by City of Miami boards. And I would ask that you would all add also city commissioners, because tit for tat, goose and gander and all that. So please consider SR3 as applying to you also, not just to the city boards. You should take the responsibility of not continuously deferring items such as a debacle that occurred this morning. And you said he was going to provide for you the information. I'm hoping that before we leave, who it is that said they didn't want to have the Virginia Key Trust continuing in that aspect. Secondly, under RE9 for the resolution, I would like to know what the quality of life violations means to you, Commissioner, because we have been raided at City Park, at the Peacock Park, and they've been sending like 7 or 8 cars right before shift change to rouse up all the homeless people, and then complain when some of the people are screaming at them, saying, "You're disturbing the peace." And so I would like to know what you mean by quality of life violations, and does that mean over here into item on page 38 with your ordinance FR4, when you are saying you're going to raise a fine for allowing dogs off their leash to $500, if that applies to parks and under the banner of see something, say something, I'm telling you that at 5, 6 in the morning, there are many people that have their dogs loose in the park. So instead of sending 7 cars to rouse homeless people and tell them to get out of the park, why don't you send them to apply the fines of $500 to the people who are letting their big dogs loose? And under that umbrella, I'm hoping that under page 26 for RE9, that you're going to have a joint enforcement zone. So like I said, is it instead of 7 cars, is it 14 cars that you're
Thank
going to be
you.
sending? Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chairwoman. How are you today? James Torres, President of DNA. We'd like to speak on FR4, which is the increasing of the park ordinances of the leashes to $500. We fully support that. As we know, the population is growing, and there's a lot of education that we've been doing on the DNA and sharing with the community. So it's kind of say something, do something about it, so we're fully supportive of that. The other item that we'd like to speak to is RE14. I spoke to our city attorney about that briefly this morning, where the city wants to sue the county as it relates to the density, Vicky, if I'm not mistaken, right? So the DNA fully supports that because we've been reaching out to the county to have this conversation. So what the DNA has shared with Vicky is that we are having a meeting with the county on the 21st of November to kind of get additional information and clarity on this, because this does affect District 2 and the cosmetics of downtown itself. So we'd like clarity, but in the meantime, if you folks are going to move forward, we're fully supporting and engaging that lawsuit or whatever needs to be done. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Good morning, Honorable City Commission and Administration. Brett Bebo, Managing Director of the Miami River Commission with offices located at 1407 Northwest 7th Street. I'm here to distribute and read into the record a letter from Miami River Commission Chairman Horacio Stewart Aguirre on agenda items PZ 14 and 15 regarding the property located at 1960 through 1970 Northwest 27th Avenue. During the Miami River Commission's October 3rd, 2022 public meeting, Ines Marrero Prieguez, Holland and Knight distributed and presented a letter of intent for a land use amendment from Port Miami River Category B Light Industrial to restricted commercial, and a zoning amendment from D1, which currently allows 72 work-live residential units on this site with 8 stories, to become T612, which would allow 300 units in 12 stories at this location. The Miami River Commission adopted a resolution recommending the vacant site be developed within the parameters of the existing land use and zoning in place. The existing parameters supported by the Miami River Commission for this site allows a mixture of uses, including 72 work-live residential units and maritime uses, while acknowledging the needed cleanup of the contaminated brownfield site. I appreciate your time and support for the Miami River District.
Thank you. Good morning.
I think I'm last. My name is Alfredo Gonzalez. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Gunster, with offices at 600 Brickell Avenue. It's my pleasure to be here representing ABH Developer Group in regards to PZ item 12. This is an amendment to section 5.1, appendix P of Miami 21. It is recommended by your planning department. It is recommended by the PZAP, and we have worked extensively with the Wynwood Community Enhancement Association, which is the association whose vision created this district. They have submitted an amendment that was adopted by your staff, and we support that. This amendment is not about increased density. The density stays the same. If anything, it lowers it. It is about giving construction and architectural flexibilities to developers so that they're not stuck having to develop 3 separate parcels in order to increase their maximum density, but rather can unify the parcels, and now they have to build only one roof, one air conditioner, that curb cuts are reduced. It is just more economics that runs this, and the economics will result in more competitive pricing in the homes. Thank you very much, and I hope you support Chairwoman King's ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ron Nelson, 2535 Inagua Avenue, Miami. I'm here to speak on PH 10 Shake a Leg. I've heard a lot of talk about the wonderful things that Shake a Leg does for the disabled or the less fortunate. I'm here to talk about 2 things. One, the building itself. It's a wonderful facility. The old hangar, my wife worked many years to get it historically designated, and then we raised the funds to restore it. We didn't raise all the money, but a good portion of it. And we've raised money over the years to keep it in the shape that it's in. It's a beautiful facility for the residents, all residents of Miami. The other thing I wanted to talk about is what it does for the fortunate people of the community. You know, many kids, children of my friends, volunteer there. And the parents tell me that it is the most incredible thing that their children have done. They come out of there with a whole different understanding of disabilities and less fortunate. And it's a life-changing event for those volunteers that work there, as well as for those they serve while they're there. So it's not only for them, it's for the community. It heals everybody in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, it appears as if our public comment period is closed. Do you have the information?
Well, the ordinance as passed, it did not have a sponsor. It passed 4-1, according to our records. It was amended by the commission on the floor.
Do we have people screaming now?
The question was,
Todd, I'm sorry.
who was the originator?
The question is, you're not recognized, sir.
Who was the originator? That was the question, wasn't it?
I understand what you're saying. I had legislation put forth to allow me to appoint 5 members to the Virginia Key Trust from the D5 office, 5 members to appoint. No, sir. Did you hear what I just said? I said
Madam Chair, we don't do
There was
debates here,
no-
sir.
there was no
Sergeant,
idea to
we don't do-
disband
we
the
don't do
trust.
debates here. No, Madam Chair.
no, but I
We
want.
don't do debates.
I
People don't
understand,
scream.
but I want
People
to.
don't scream.
I
Doesn't work
want
that
to
way.
make it clear.
Government
there
does
was-
not work that way. The sergeant can remove him from the, thank you very much. That's what you need to do. Enough of the disrespect. Enough. You don't scream. You come in a civilized manner, you have a debate. This commission is duly elected officials, all of us, and we vote for things. You can shape the narrative any way you want to shape the narrative. Doesn't make it true. You could repeat a lie over and over again, still doesn't make it true. So it's over. Let's do our business on the agenda. That's why we're here, Madam Chair, on my request.
At this time, do I have a motion to?
So moved.
Wait, I'm sorry.
I
For
know
the
the motion.
CAs, we need to pull some. I apologize.
I move CA1, CA2, CA3, and all the CA items that have not been, except CA15, I want to pull CA15. I have a couple of questions about that one. 15, the Stephen Miro settlement. I want to pull it so we can have discussion.
So do we have a motion to pass CA1, CA2, CA3, CA4, CA5, CA6, CA7, CA9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And you want to discuss CA 15?
Well, yes.
For CA 15, I just wanted to clarify, Commissioner Carollo will not be a part of any discussion on this item.
Yes, we understand.
Okay.
But I'm not Commissioner Carollo, right? Okay. So CA 15. I want the city attorney to, it's a $120,000 settlement. And I want the city attorney to explain to me how she came to that conclusion, that settlement. Oh, you, okay. Did she walk away from this one?
No, I just have more specific details. As always, sir, I will answer whatever question you have. I caution us talking about it in a public forum.
I understand.
Okay.
That's why I'm talking about it in a public forum.
Okay. So in any case that we resolve, we obviously have to come to this body. We evaluate the chance of success and the chance of failure, come up with a educated number or conclusion as to what that percentage looks like. We determine what the biggest downside is, and based upon those numbers, we come up with something that's reasonable. I will tell you, in this case, Mr. Muro, if he were to prevail, just the back pay alone would have been close to $100,000, just the back pay. That doesn't include any front pay a court might award, and it doesn't include attorney's fees. And this case has been in litigation for 4 years. So there is, as you can imagine, a considerable amount of attorney's fees in this case.
I have a tremendous amount, Madam Chair. I have a tremendous amount, through the chair, of course, I have a tremendous amount of respect for the city attorney's office. I think that sometimes, Madam Attorney, I told you this privately, I can say it publicly, that the city attorney's office is sometimes risk averse. They're afraid to litigate sometimes. I think you need to be more bold. And when unfair situations occur and things that are wrong, that we, as objective, not as lawyers, but as objective citizens who look at it, know that this is wrong. I'm really hard pressed to give this guy $120,000. It's just, so I'm going to vote against him. I'm not going to say anything else because she's looking at me with a total look of fear in her face, and she knows that we're going on the record in the settlement, and it's not fear. I know it's caution, because your lawyers are cautious, and I understand that for good reason. You protect us, that we don't say the wrong thing, and that's why you have a city attorney's office. But to me, because I know what transpired, and I know the truth over the course of the period when that occurred, so I know the truth. I understand. Don't stop me. I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. I cannot vote for it in good conscience. As a public official, as somebody who's duly elected to vote his conscience and do what he thinks or she thinks is right, I cannot vote to give this guy, this piece of crap, $120,000. So I'm going to vote against it. And if the body wants to vote for it, they can vote for it. But I'm voting against it.
Right. The only thing I just wanted to bring up, sometimes when we have these settlements, unfortunately, the law is that if he just gets $1, we have to pay 4 years of attorney's fees. So this is not, and that's the way that the law is set up, and it's unfortunate for us because it puts the city at a disadvantage. So with regard to this, it's we are not saying that anything was done incorrectly. However, in an abundance of caution, because the attorney's fees are out there and it's a 4-year-old case, that's the only reason why we're taking this settlement. But I totally understand your position, and it puts us in a hard position because of those types of situations with attorney's fees, that sometimes we just settle because of the attorney's fees.
I understand. So did I say piece of crap? I couldn't say anything else on the dais, but you know what I meant. I'm not voting for this.
Commissioner Reyes?
Yes, I tend to agree that we should be litigating a little bit more, and we should take a position of the city and defend the city a little bit harder, because most of the times what we do is we settle. But I just want to know, how much will it cost us in attorney fees? you have any estimate that,
If you like,
that,
if you like, we can table this and brief everyone individually again. I don't like to
Can we table
litigate.
it? Can we table it and do a shade meeting?
I would not, the reason why I made a strategic decision on not to do a shade meeting,
Can we call for a
Is-
shade meeting?
so I would ask that there is no shade meeting.
Why?
Let's just table this item and I'll talk to everybody. I'm not gonna do this
there's-
so that Mr. Miro is listening to exactly and everybody else is listening. We have plenty of litigation going on. I just rather, I will talk,
worry
you know,
that much
during
about Mr. Miro.
lunchtime, we'll talk about it
listen,
then.
Let's
listen.
table it. Let's go ahead and
let-
table it.
Yes, let's table it, but I think that we should listen sometimes to the advice of the city attorney. That's what we have them here, and they have. But I just wanted, just out of curiosity, I want to compare. If we go along and have take this to court and we engage ourselves in a trial, what could be the consequences and how much it costs the taxpayers? Okay? So
So
we
this-
can make a decision.
This item is going to be tabled for now, correct? Okay. So we have the
So
PH
I have a
items.
question. Do we need to defer it or just table?
That-
Can we
Table
just-
it
can
till
you-
the
can we just
afternoon,
defer?
Victoria, or do we
Let's
defer it?
Let's defer the item.
I,
So you can
Is
brief
it time
everybody.
sensitive?
yes, it is time sensitive.
Well,
So-
but it's not that time sensitive. It's not before December 8th time sensitive, right?
I mean, we're set for trial.
Well, when do you suffer trial?
There's a status conference set, the date escapes me at this moment, but it's after this hearing, but it's before Christmas. So it's sometime in
Well, but the
late
date's
November.
important. I think the date should not escape you. You should actually have a specific date when the commissioner asks you a question. And we have a settlement of $120,000, not chump change. You need to have an answer. Is it
Right.
December 8th, December 9th, December 10th?
I can get you that information.
So I
in
think we
5 minutes.
defer the item to December 8th, to the next commission meeting, so we can have the opportunity to be briefed by the city attorney's office.
But just make sure, if you could check that it's
Of
not
course, the schedule
before
matters, of
December
course.
8th.
Yes, the schedule
So
matters. Yeah, we can always have a special meeting.
let's table it till the afternoon until we get the date to make sure it doesn't
Okay,
conflict
all right, we'll
with the
table until the
next.
afternoon. Okay,
Okay?
I can do that.
Madam Chair, I'll move the PH items, and I have one amendment on one of them.
And I will second that, but that's pending your amendment.
Thank you. It's a simple amendment on PH4, which is my item, transferring funds to the Real Estate Asset Management Department to benefit the barnyard. Currently, it says for AC only, but there's several changes, improvements they're going to do in order to be able to do the AC, some water intrusion issues, some roofing tie-down issues. So I wanted to add the words, "and other eligible CDBG activity," so that they have the freedom to spend the money appropriately.
So I have a question for the city attorney, Madam Chair. We have 4 commissioners here. We can vote on all the 4 items as long as we get 4 votes, correct?
Yes.
Yes, but
But
we
we have
have,
Commissioner Carollo.
we have Commissioner Carollo,
Oh, he's over there, I'm
that
sorry.
we're supposed to call back in. and
Why are you
confirm.
pointing up? Is he up there
Because
somewhere?
he sounds like the voice, he sounds like the voice of
Is it
God.
like- It's like the voice of God or what?
Yes, he sounds like the voice of God. Wait till you hear him.
Is it-
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Well, wherever you are, Commissioner Carroll, hello, good morning. All right, so I'll second the motion for all the PH items with the amendment as Commissioner
All the
Rowley
what?
described. All the PH items
PH items.
as amended, PH,
Hold on a second, hold on a second.
Yes, thank you.
PH 4 as amended by
Oh,
Commissioner
hold
Rose.
on a second. On PH 13, I want to pull it because I have to recuse myself from voting there.
And we need Carroll here.
Well, he can vote, yeah.
PH,
I'm
on,
You can recuse yourself,
Commissioner.
Bruce. Good morning.
I will.
So I move PH, I'll second the motion for everything except PH 13 as amended. Okay, he's there.
He's here, so we don't have to take
Okay,
that one
I
out.
understood it.
Yes.
It was a joke. Yeah, no, I can't hear him.
And by the way, I go along in a lot of jokes, but not with God. So I'm sorry that my voice is the way that it is today, and I'm not being able to be there. But In the condition that I'm in, I don't think I should be there.
Feel better. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
The PH items.
So then I'll
He
move,
voted for 13.
I'll move PH 13. You'll recuse yourself, and we'll go ahead and vote for it. You don't have to leave. You can stay there. But PH 13, that's moved.
Do you have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. We are on the RE items now. Do I have a motion to pass the RE items?
So moved.
Second.
I'd like to make a floor amendment to RE 11 to include the Virginia Key Beach Trust.
Accepted by second.
RE 11.
RE 11.
I'll second that.
So all in favor of the RE items?
Aye.
Madam Chair?
Sorry, Chair. So at the moment, there's a motion for all of the RE items except for RE 1 and 7. Is that correct? RE 1 was deferred to December 8th. RE 7 was deferred to December 8th. So
Correct. And RE 11 as amended.
As amended.
and
As
just
amended.
for the record, RE 3 needs to be amended as well.
And RE 3 as amended.
Yes.
That's the motion. Well, I'm the second of the motion. You made the motion.
I'm the second. No, I'm the second.
Okay.
You're the mover.
I just have a point of clarification on RE 14. That's the RTZ.
Right.
The RTC, hold on a second, I would like to,
We want to pull that, right?
huh?
You want to pull that, or you want to?
Yes, I think we should pull it because
Pull it.
I have some questions about that.
Me too.
Okay.
And and maybe we debate it
Okay. So
after lunch, because I need some food.
That's right.
can we have a vote for RE 1 through 13?
RE 1 through 13?
RE 1
With
was,
the exceptions of the two that were deferred, and
Right.
and RE 4 is amended.
so moved.
That's right.
7, I'm sorry, 7 is
Okay.
amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So
So now I want to reconsider RE 7, the scooter issue. Was that the safety measures that we approved?
RE 7, that was deferred.
It was already deferred, I'm sorry.
RE 7 was deferred.
I got here late, man, so I apologize. I'm trying
RE
to
7 is
catch
the
up.
bid award that was reset along with the permanent scooter program, which is FR 1, that was all reset.
I'd like
Okay.
to take this opportunity to congratulate Rodney Jacobs. He is now our new Executive Director for the CIP program. Rodney, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman, and thank you to all the commissioners and Commissioner Croya, who is somewhere here. The CIP really appreciates, right, exactly. The CIP really appreciates the support of this commission and working in collaboration with the police department and our city administration. You all have supported us for so much time, and obviously myself. So taking on this role as director is obviously going to be fun and challenging, but we're leaning into it as an office and as a department, and I know good will come from it because of that. So thank you all.
Congratulations.
Thank you, congratulations.
Let me just clarify, RE 7 was included in the package that we just voted?
It was deferred.
It was the third.
Deferred.
RE 7 was deferred.
I didn't know either. I just wanted to make sure that didn't slip through.
Okay.
Can we-
Do you want to take up RE 14 now?
No,
He
I
s-
want
he
to do
said
it after
after
lunch.
lunch.
I would like to do it after lunch.
After lunch? Okay, so let's move along to the second reading items. If we could have the city attorney read the items into the record.
SR 1, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 2 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, is amended titled Planning and Zoning, more particularly by amending Article 6 titled Zoning and Planning Fees, Section 62-22, titled Schedule of Fees, Section 62-23 of the City Code, titled Request for Review and Appeal, Section 62-25 of the City Code, titled Waiver and Refund of Fees, and Article 7, Section 62-32 of the City Code, titled Historic and Environmental Preservation Board Schedule of Fees, to provide the yearly review of fees and associated language within, so that adjustments, if necessary, are made as a part of the sound fiscal process maintenance containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. SR 2. An ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 10, Article 5 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Buildings Code Relief Program, more particularly by amending Section 10-70 to amend the legalization process containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date. SR 3, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 2 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commissions, Standards for Creation and Review of Boards generally, by amending Section 2-895, titled Continuances, Deferrals by City Boards, to provide for reasonable limitations on continuances and deferrals of items by City of Miami boards containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date. SR 5. For this item on SR 5, I believe Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla had a amendment. Okay, for SR 5, Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla wanted to add single-family and duplex residential properties and vacant land where the immediate previous use was a single-family or duplex structure shall be allowed to obtain mitigation in the same way as the homestead properties and the eleemosynary properties and all that.
Yes.
So that's SR 5. An ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 2, Article 10, Section 2-817 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Administration, Code Enforcement, Administrative Costs, Fines, Liens, to amend and provide for the allowance of 501c3 and eleemosynary organization to obtain mitigations of code liens before the Code Enforcement Board, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date as amended, as was, I read on the record.
So do I have a motion?
Yes, he moved it. I second it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. First reading items, we have first reading FR 4, 5, 6 to go. Yep, 4, 5, and 6, because we took FR 2 out of order. So do I have a motion for FR deferred?
So,
FR 2,
I'll second FR 4, 5, and 6.
okay, we need
4,
to
5, and
have,
6.
we need to have Victoria read the titles into the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So FR 4, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 38, Article 2 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Parks and Recreation Use Regulations, more particularly by amending Section 38-57 of the City Code, titled Domestic Animals in Parks, to raise the fine for allowing dogs off their leash to $500, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date. FR 5, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 62, Article 3, Section 62-16 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, is amended, titled Planning, Zoning, and Appeals, Board Appointments, Qualifications, to simplify the removal and appointment process for planning, zoning, and appeals board members, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. And FR 6, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission with attachments amending Chapter 18, Article 4 of the Code of the City of Miami as amended, titled Finance Grants, more specifically establishing a new Section 18-139 titled Anti-Poverty Initiative establishing the Anti-Poverty Initiative, providing the criteria for funding and eligibility of entities under which anti-poverty funds may be allocated and utilized, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Aye.
Mr. City Clerk, do you have any boards
Yes, ma'am.
for appointments?
BC 5, Civilian Investigative Panel. The Civilian Investigative Panel is requesting confirmation of the following individuals: Vilmary Martinez, at the recommendation of the mayor; Amir Kenyatta, representing District 2; and Michelle Valadares, representing District 4.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 BC 12, the city manager will be reappointing Erica Pascual. And that's the only appointment for BC 5.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I wanted to clarify for the code relief program. Apparently, there was a change that the manager wanted about manager or designee. Was that sent out as a substitution or anything like that? Does anybody know? No? No? Okay, well then.
So
I don't know if...
we should not be appointing Ms. Pascual, is what you're saying?
No, I'm sorry. I went back to the code relief program.
Oh, separate, you went to the other one.
Yes, to the amnesty program. But if there is no changes, then thank you.
I'd like to take up at this time pocket item 1.
Chair, I'm sorry. Just have a couple more. Historic and Environmental Preservation
Oh, I
Board.
thought you were finished. Okay.
BC 14, Historic and Environmental Preservation Board. Commissioner Reyes will be reappointing Denise Galvez Turos, and Chairwoman King will be appointing Robert Bob Powers.
Move it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Housing and Commercial Loan Committee. The Department of Housing and Community Development is recommending reappointment of the following individuals: James Angleton Jr., Alan Hall, Kevin Deeb, Gregory Gay, Ben Fernandez, all requiring a 5-5 term waiver.
5 years?
It's just a 5-5 term waiver.
Oh.
It just needs 5 commissioners to vote in favor of the reappointment.
Well,
Do I have a motion? For discussion?
no discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That concludes the boards and committees. Thank you, Chair.
I'd like to take up pocket item 1 at this time. Victoria, could you read it into the record, please?
Was that,
That was my, it
yeah,
was
it
voted
was
on.
read and voted on?
Oh, we did it already?
Yeah.
Oh, I have it on my
You were
notes.
you were that efficient.
Now you go to lunch.
Oh, so we don't want to
And
tackle the PZ items?
No, let's go to lunch.
All right, we
the
have-
manager is buying,
We'll come
is
back.
buying lunch for everybody.
Well, can we do, what time is it? It's not 12 o'clock, and I'm sure they announced it at 12.
Ma'am,
Well, then
CRA
he
is
can buy
scheduled for 10 or
breakfast.
thereafter, 10 a.m. or thereafter.
Oh, we have a CRA meeting, and it can go really quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
and it
right.
has some-
Let's do
Okay,
that.
so
Let's
let's
do it now.
flip the tape and do the CRA meeting very quickly.
Okay. So, the manager is buying lunch for everybody, and Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla is inviting the whole city.
To have lunch. Have we ever been to one of his lunches?
His lunches?
Yeah.
No, it's only turkey and
Yeah,
and ham.
turkey
I mean,
and
I don't eat
veggies and, yeah. Well,
That's
you know.
right. I mean, yours, well,
Arroz imperial and all this kind of stuff.
that's right.
You know.
Sir, I know you are,
Well, here, buy a sushi.
you are gourmet. What's your gourmet dinner? It's going to consist
Today we
of.
have ribs from Flanagan.
So clearly I need to take District 1 off the invite list.
And that's
for
a
my
free
lunch.
promo for Flanagan's, okay?
Hey.
It's a free promo for Flanagan.
I should make a motion that Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla is the one that it is going to organize any future
Yes.
managers,
I'm gonna
lunch.
take over his catering duties.
That's right.
He's not very good at it, no.
No,
He's a pretty good city manager, but he's not a good caterer.
No.
I should have said an excellent city manager, I apologize. Did you roll the A-track? Are you good to go? You moved to cassette or you still on A-track?
He went off. He moved forward. That's it.
A floppy disk.
I had a car that had an A-track.
Really? Yeah. Me too.
Yes,
Me too. My first car had an A-track.
that's right.
It was Buick LeSabre.
That's right. I had a husband beat car. With a nice A-track. Yeah. I had a 7, it was burning. Oh my God. I learned how to drive. All my first cars drive.
Oh, that's why. I'm trying to be crazy.
Before we begin, just confirm that Commissioner Correa is still on. Oh, no, we got 4. We're good.
He's there. Will the executive director be joining us?
I'm in the stead, Madam Chair.
You're sitting in for him?
I'm wearing 2 hats.
I understand. Okay, so we can begin the CRA meeting. I will turn it over to Attorney Vince Brown to begin the meeting.
Good morning, everyone. There are 5 items on the agenda. The first item is 12970, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Southeast Overtown Park West Community Redevelopment Agency, accepting the selection committee's recommendation to select Tammy Overtown LLC as the top-ranked proposer to develop a 1.56-acre assemblage of property within the historic Overtown Cultural Entertainment District. Further authorizing the executive director to negotiate an agreement for the development of said property with the top-ranked proposer, and directing the executive director to present the proposed agreement back to the Board of Commissioners for consideration. Item 12971, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Southeast Overtown Park West CRA by 4/5 affirmative vote after advertised public hearing, ratifying, approving, and confirming the executive director's recommendation and find that the competitive negotiation method and procedures are not practical or advantageous pursuant to Section 18-85 and 18-86 of the Code of the City of Miami, as amended and adopted by waiving the requirements for competitive sealed bidding and not being practical and advantageous. I've read that all part. To negotiate and execute an agreement to allocate grant funds in the amount of $150,000 to Green Haven Project, Inc., to assist with educational workshop programs, and further authorize the executive director to negotiate and execute all documents necessary in all forms acceptable to the general counsel for said purpose. This item will be amended, item 12973, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Southeast Overtown Park West Community Redevelopment Agency by 4/5 affirmative vote after an advertised public hearing, ratifying, approving, and confirming the executive director's recommendation and finding that the competitive negotiation method and procedures are not practical or advantageous pursuant to 18-85 and 18-86 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, as adopted by the CRA, waiving the requirements of competitive sealed bidding as not being practical and advantageous to the CRA, authorize the executive director to negotiate and execute an agreement to allocate grant funds, authorize the issuance of a grant in the amount not to exceed, this is where it's amended, it's $12,277.50 to A&Co and Temple Church of God in Christ to support Breath of Life Community Outreach Program. Further authorize the executive director to negotiate and execute all documents necessary in all forms acceptable to the general counsel for said purpose. Item 12974, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Southeast Overtown Park West Community Development Agency by 4/5 affirmative vote after advertised public hearing, ratifying, approving, and confirming the executive director's recommendation and finding that the competitive negotiation method and procedures are not practical or advantageous pursuant to Section 18-85 and 18-86 of the Code of the City of Miami as amended and as adopted by the CRA, waiving the requirements for competitive sealed bidding and not being practical or advantageous to the CRA, authorize the executive director to negotiate and execute an agreement to allocate grant funds to AMCO and Temple Church of God in Christ in the amount not to exceed $117,907 for repairs and improvements to the property located at 1747 Northwest 3rd Avenue, authorize the executive director to execute all documents necessary in all forms acceptable to the general counsel for said purpose. And item 12975, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners for the Southeast Overtown Park West CRA Community Development Agency by 4/5 affirmative vote after the advertised public hearing, ratifying and approving and confirming the executive director's recommendation and finding that the competitive negotiation method and procedures are not practical or advantageous pursuant to Section 18-85 and 18-86 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, as adopted by the CRA, waiving the requirements for competitive sealed bidding as not being practical or advantageous to the CRA, authorizing the executive director to negotiate and execute all agreements to allocate grant funds, authorizing a grant in the amount not to exceed $100,000 to Urgent Inc. to underwrite the costs associated with 1 year period from January 2023 to December 2023 Summer Youth Training Institute. Further authorize the executive director to execute all documents necessary for said purpose. Those are your items.
Second. I will second it, all 5 items as amended.
That's right.
All in favor?
Chair, public comment?
Oh, I'd
Public
like to,
comment.
at this time, open the public comment period for any of the items that were discussed.
With number 3 amended, right?
Does anyone have, come on. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hey, how y'all doing? My name is David. I'm the executive director and president of Greenhaven Project. So I just wanted to say thank you, guys. Appreciate what you guys have done.
Thank you.
A pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, and also, if you guys have any land in your district, holla at me. You know what I'm saying? I'll build on that. We can talk. Ken, I've reached out to you. You ain't hit me back, man. What's up? You know what I mean? But anyway, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, he'll be gone anyway in 2 months, so yeah. But he'll call you back before that, I'm sure.
He will call you again.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Motion carries. This concludes the end of the
Madam Chair, may I?
yes, Southeast Overtown Park West CRA meeting for November 17th, 2022.
Okay. Commissioner Carollo.
Yes.
Hello? Joe,
Hello?
are you there? I was just going to offer,
can't
if
hear
you need something, for example,
Robitussin or...
Robitussin or some food that we will send somebody to your place and take it.
I can send you some ribs.
Yeah.
That's very kind of you, both of you, but
Oh, really?
I think the last
Seriously,
thing I need
I can
is
send you
food
some if you
now.
want. Are you at home?
Is there anything you need?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, sir. Take good care of yourself, huh?
Yes.
Thank you.
At this time, we are going to adjourn the regular City of Miami Commission meeting until, what time is it?
Wait.
What?
So you're reconvening? We had recessed the regular meeting.
Right, but I didn't say when we were going to come back.
Okay.
I forgot to say that. We'll be back at 2:30. 2:30? We'll resume at 2:30. Thank you.